Welcome to the Sovereign Futures podcast. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor. The Sovereign Futures podcast is a sharing space of transformational interviews, sacred teachings, power imagery processes, innovative futuring tools, and topics that can help you design and sculpt your desired futures into your now. Some of our podcasts will be translated into Spanish to bridge cultures where we share the journey of consciousness together. Welcome to the Sovereign Futures podcast. Bienvenidos al podcast de Futuros Soberanos. I am your host, Yvonne de la Flor, and I'm super excited to bring you a man, a voice that is one of the most honest, transparent, clear, and in my experience, grounded voices of truth in these times that humanity is experiencing. En este podcast del día de hoy les traigo la voz de un hombre claro, conciso, preciso, verdadero y con los pies en la tierra, que ha sido una voz de la verdad para todas las situaciones corrientes que están ocurriendo ahorita en la humanidad. I'm going to share with you a little bit about him. Les voy a compartir un poquito de lo que sabemos de él. Ronnie says he's Mr. Ronnie Landis, el señor Ronnie Landis. His core belief is that we built into each of our hearts the solution. We have built into our hearts, each of us, the solution to each of our obstacles in life. Él cree que en nuestros corazones está construido la solución de cada uno de nuestros obstáculos. He has spent his life scouring the libraries and endless landscapes of knowledges, searching for the solution that seemed to always eluded him. Se dedicó toda su vida a ser un investigador de la verdad en librerías, diferentes sabidurías, para buscar la verdad que parecía que siempre lo eludía. He's still seeking, sigue buscando, y most likely he always will. Y al parecer siempre va a estar en la búsqueda. But along his journey, he has uncovered some profound insights and strategies that he believes he can use to empower virtually anyone that puts them into practice. Pero a través de su travesía y de su viaje, él cree que ha encontrado formas de empoderar virtualmente a cualquier persona que ponga estas enseñanzas a la práctica. From the age of 4 years old, he was introduced to martial arts. Desde la edad de 4 años fue introducido a las artes marciales. His very first memories of life were actually observing the movements and charisma of his first role model, Bruce Lee. Su primer modelo de vida y de estar observando cómo se comportaba era el señor Bruce Lee. He doesn't have really a sense of his life before this. No tiene una sensación de su vida antes de esto. But this is the philosophy of Eastern Mysticism and spirituality that it feels familiar to him. Esta es la filosofía del este de misticismo y espiritualidad que se siente cerca de su corazón. I'm just very grateful that we were able to pull our schedules together in these times. Yo estoy súper agradecida que pudimos poner nuestros calendarios juntos en este tiempo. I'm just going to hand the microphone to him now. Voy a entregarle el micrófono ahora. He has 3 topics for us that I think are important. Tiene 3 temas para nosotros que creo que son importantes. Number 1, the real virus going on. Número 1, el verdadero virus que está ocurriendo en la humanidad. Number 2, the real truth about the pandemia. Where is it coming from? Una de las verdaderas realidades. One of the truths, right? Una de las verdades de la pandemia. And 3, one of the cures and solutions for all of this. Una de las curas y soluciones para todo esto. Ronnie, thank you for being open-minded. Gracias por ser la mente abierta. And everyone for listening a bilingual podcast. Y por todos los que escuchan un podcast bilingüe. Thank you for coming to learn a new language. Gracias por venir a aprender un nuevo lenguaje. For doing brain gym with us. Por hacer gimnasio cerebral con nosotros. And for building bridges between cultures instead of walls. Y por construir puentes entre culturas en vez de paredes. This is the purpose of the Sovereign Futures podcast. Este es el propósito del podcast de Futuros Soberanos, a philanthropic podcast, un podcast filantrópico that closes its doors, que va a cerrar sus puertas in December of 2020, en diciembre de 2020, as I'm launching a new podcast on 2021, ya que estoy lanzando un nuevo podcast en 2021 that is not going to be bilingual, que no va a ser bilingüe, but all our episodes that are treasures, pero todos nuestros episodios que son tesoros, they will still be alive. Van a seguir vivos. So Ronnie, welcome, and the microphone is all yours.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for having me. What an incredible pleasure and honor it is to be here. And just cue me whenever. I know we have two different audiences and we have a bilingual audience. So we have three different specific topics to dive into here today. And the first one is really to talk about what is the real viral infection plaguing humanity right now. What is the real virus?
So let me translate you there. So dice que él está súper agradecido de estar aquí. Sabe que tenemos dos tipos de audiencias, la de habla hispana y la de habla inglesa. Y él va a hablar de estos temas y quiere hablarles de cuál es lo que considera él que es el verdadero virus que está ahorita atacando a la humanidad.
So first of all, just understand what we've been told about a pathogen, i.e. a virus that we should all be scared of, that is lurking behind the corners, ready to jump out and get us. That is not actually what the true virus is. A virus is an excretion of the cell. It's a dead organism that is a byproduct of detoxification. And what we've been told about viruses is not actually what viruses really are.
Entonces dice, mucha gente tiene miedo de que el virus va a salir de una esquina o de algún lado y nos va a atacar y va a saltar a nosotros como si estuviera vivo. Y los virus no son estos, son patógenos de organismos muertos y no el virus del que vamos a hablar hoy no es este virus. Nos han estado diciendo mentiras.
By building your immune system, having a healthy diet, having a healthy lifestyle, you really have nothing to worry about when it comes to viruses. And we just want to move that particular thing out of the way because what we're all facing is something I like to call the virus of the mind. And this virus is not a pathogen, an organism that you have to worry about, that you have to wear a mask to protect yourself from. It's actually something that is being transmitted to our minds from our computer sets and from our phones and our TV sets.
So, I'm going to translate, voy a traducir. Dice, realmente si tú cuidas tu sistema inmunológico, si te cuidas, comes bien, haces ejercicio y te proteges, no vas a tener que preocuparte por un patógeno. El virus del que quiere hablar Ronnie es el virus de la mente, el virus que no necesita que te pongas máscaras, que no necesita que estés asustado que el virus otro te va a atacar. Si tú cuidas tu sistema inmune, todo va a estar bien.
So the real virus that we're all facing is the mainstream media. And this is the virus of the mind. And this has been the thing behind every major epidemic that we've ever faced. And if any of us are alive today, then we certainly understand that the media in the news in the mainstream media is telling us stories in order to keep us scared, to keep us afraid, to keep us wearing these ridiculous masks, and also to cause us to stay in fear. This is the real virus, and this is the thing that we all need to understand, because it's really fear that is the real virus happening right now.
Wow, yes, that's so true. El verdadero virus, corazones, es las noticias, las redes sociales, todo lo que se le llama en inglés mainstream media, en inglés se le llama así, todo lo que vemos. Esta ha sido la razón por lo que otros virus en la humanidad muchas veces se han esparcido más. ¿Por qué? Porque se promueve el miedo. Y cuando tienes miedo, bajas tu sistema inmune. Y este es el miedo y este es el virus que ataca nuestra mente, que nos vuelve vulnerables y el que se esparce por toda la humanidad más que los otros viruses.
The mainstream media is not our friend. The mainstream media and the different news outlets that are telling us all these stories about COVID-19, about the economy, about the racial division, the fighting, the civil unrest in our society, the media has become weaponized. And the weapon of choice is fear. And what the media sells to us, because they sell a product to us, and the product that they sell is fear, doubt, worry, concern, uncertainty. And when they can get us scared, locked into our house, and fearful, then what they can do is they can sell us anything, because if we're willing to buy into the pandemic of fear, then we're willing to buy into the solution that they have ready for us.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You know, your passion and your commitment is like, okay, I'm going to war with this man. All right. So let me translate. Esto está súper poderoso. This is powerful. Las redes sociales, los medios noticieros se han convertido en como un arma nuclear, utilizando un arma muy potente que es el miedo. Están utilizando miedo, duda, preocupación, que te estés constantemente en ansiedad, y te están vendiendo las ideas, y todo lo que te venden, va a haber una guerra civil, va a ocurrir todo esto malo. Tú lo compras porque tu miedo es con lo que estás comprando la supuesta verdad que los medios te están vendiendo.
One thing that I think is really important for everybody to understand is that the word COVID, it does not mean what we've all been led to believe that it means. Now, you're not going to find this information on your local Google search or by your mainstream media, but I want to let you know that the true meaning of the word COVID is an acronym for Certificate of Vaccine Identification. And 19 represents the number of years following the last biggest false flag event in United States history, which was 9/11. And now we are 19 years ahead of that. And the year 2020 really means 2020 vision. 2012 is actually meant to be 2020. They just got the mathematics a little off.
Wow. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Ok, también quiere decirles, todo lo que la media le está vendiendo es mentiras, es falso. COVID-19, COVID-19 no significa lo que hemos creído. COVID-19 significa certificado, es el certificado de vacuna de identificación. 19 representa 19 años después del ataque terrorista de septiembre 11. Y 2020 significa visión 2020. Simplemente hicieron malos cálculos numerológicos, pero hay que empezar a darnos cuenta, corazones. Hay que empezar a ver que no todo lo que te dicen las redes sociales y las noticias es cierto. Lo compras con tu creencia, tú lo pagas con tu miedo. Así que hay que ponernos a pensar. Esta no es información que la puedes encontrar en Google. En Google están dándote la información que ellos quieren que tú compres.
The most important thing for all of us to understand is that we've been put through what's called a psychological operation, or a PSYOP for short. And what that really means is that there has been a psychological experiment that has been cast upon the world population for many, many decades. And the mainstream media has been the main weapon, the main power hub for communicating weaponized messages that are all designed to create fear, panic, unrest, and uncertainty into the population. And that's exactly what we're witnessing right now. And there's a lot of different things that we can talk about. We just want to keep this simple for the point of this podcast.
Wow. Yes, but hopefully, next year I'll invite you to the one only in English so we can really just expand and go on video and everything. Because this, Ronnie, ahorita traduzco, chicos. I'll translate in a moment. This is just the time to speak